Yo, 365, shake my hand and good evening to you. Watching on the YouTube, listening on Spotify, Anchor. I appreciate all of you. Shake my hand one more time. The time is quarter past 9. Today was an interesting day. My commitment to you is strong. I did say a podcast every day, a chapter every day. No matter what, I'll get through to it. And so far, I've managed to keep that promise. Thank God. My own reading, personal reading outside of the podcast, normally starts at about 4:30 a.m. And then by the time it was now time to do this chapter a day that I do with you guys, today was a big day for trading. So I decided to film a trader's war room, which is already up on our YouTube channel. And the next one is going to be on Sunday live. And so that 1 hour, and the war room was about 1 hour, 17 minutes. Unfortunately, went towards that. So that's why we're filming the podcast tonight. But nonetheless, guys, we still need to get through this book. We are almost done. To be honest with you, we'll be done with this book this coming weekend. This is episode 10, chapter 12 of The Science of Getting Rich. And my goodness, it's been a beautiful book. Because of the time, got wifey there waiting for me, promised to watch a movie, the Eternals. I think we're like 2 months behind with movies. So today I said I would stop working. As soon as I'm done filming the podcast, I'm done for the day. And then, so we'll do one chapter. We'll just do one chapter. All right. But before we do the chapter, guys, the chapter seems to be very short, seems to be like a 4-pager. I want us to quickly touch roots. Our roots in this book can be summarized in a statement to our syllabus. That's what the author calls it. He says, look, everything that I've taught you at the end of the day sums up to something this small. I don't think it's clear there on YouTube. Yeah, okay, all that stuff that's highlighted. And I'm going to read it out as a summary of everything that we've done. We spoke about the will, power of the will in the previous episode, and then we spoke about acting in a certain way, being actually aggressively acting where you are now, building where you are now, thinking about what you need to do and actively acting on it, right? So that was the last previous chapter. And he added, to our statement, which is our syllabus, right? Which is our core. The core of all our affirmations must revolve around this idea. That is, there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. A person can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon the formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, a person must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of things he wants. He must hold this picture in his thoughts with a fixed purpose to get what he wants, and the unwavering faith that he will get what he wants, closing his mind to all that may tend to shake his purpose, dim his vision, or quench his faith. That he may receive what he wants when it comes, a person must act now upon the people and things in his present environment, right? So that's now the full statement. And as you know, we've been developing this quotation chapter upon chapter. First, when he introduced the thinking in a certain way, the attitude of gratitude. Hope you guys are catching up with those gratitude journals. I hope you guys are on top of those gratitude journals, because they're absolutely sufficiently important. Right. So today's chapter 12, without further ado, is title is Efficient Action. Efficient Action. I'm going to read now. Get some water. Right, juice. You must use your thought as I've directed in the previous chapter. You must begin to do what you can where you are. You must do all that you can do where you are. I was thoroughly inspired by this. I won't even lie to you. Yesterday, when I was reading chapter 11, and I came up with an entire new traders program for where I am, so in my local area, because I really never focused on that because it's quite a small town. But yeah. So if you're in Grahamstown, I'm coming for you. We're gonna do some cool stuff together. Completely different approach to to the remote course, given the proximity, right? Because I'm around town here. So it'll be fun. So but I'm taking what I'm learning seriously, because this is the science of getting rich, right? And it's only wrong if I follow all these steps and they fail. And that's the only time you can come back and say this book is full of nonsense, it doesn't work. When you've tried everything, done everything, approached this with no doubt, cleared your mind, aligned yourself to the formless substance, approached it with a harmonious relationship of gratitude, maintained thinking in a certain way, maintained the power of will to make sure your faith is unshakable, and then moved on to acting now. Right, so now we're talking about efficient action. You must begin to do what you can where you are, and you must do all that you can where you are. You can advance only by being larger than your present place. Interesting. And no man is larger than his present place who leaves undone any of the work pertaining to that place. This is crazy. It's literally speaking to me. This chapter is speaking to me. The world is advanced only by those who are more than filling their present place. If no one quite filled his present place, there would be a backslide in everything. Those who do not quite fill their present place are a dead weight upon society, government, commerce, and industry. They must be carried along by others at great expense. The progress of the world is retarded only by those who do not fill the places they are holding. They belong to a former age and a lower stage or plane of life. Their tendency is toward degeneration. No society could advance if every individual was smaller than his place, because social evolution is guided by the law of physical and mental evolution. In the animal world, evolution is caused by an excess of life. When an organism has more life than can be expressed in the functions of its own plane, it develops the organs of a higher plane, and new species is originated. There never would have been new species had there not been organisms which more than filled their places. The law is exactly the same for you. Your getting rich depends upon you applying this principle to your own affairs. Every day is either a successful day or a day of failure, or it is the successful days which get you what you want. If every day is a failure, you can never get rich. If every day is a success, you cannot help but get rich. If there's something that may be done today and you do not do it, you have failed insofar as that thing is concerned, and the consequences will be more disastrous than you can imagine. Right, sorry, if you can just give me 2 seconds just to highlight a couple of things here that I will want to kind of like reflect on later on by myself. Right, you cannot foresee the results or even the most trivial act. You do not know the workings of all the forces that have been set moving in your behalf. Much may be dependent on you doing some simple act. It may be the very thing which is to open the door of opportunity to great possibilities. You can never know all the combinations which supreme power is making for you in a world of things and human affairs. Your neglect or failure to do small thing may cause a long delay in getting what you want. Do every day all that can be done that day. There is, however, a limitation or a qualification that you must take into account. You are not to overwork or to rush blindly in your business in the effort to the greatest possible number of things in the shortest possible time. You are not to try to do tomorrow's work today or to do a week's work today. It is really not the number of things you do, but the efficiency of each separate action that counts. All right. I feel like it's been very clear so far, so there's no need for me to butt in. Every act in itself, either efficient or inefficient. Every inefficient act is a failure. Every inefficient act is a failure. And if you spend your life doing inefficient acts, your whole life will be a failure. The more things you do, the worse for you if all your acts are inefficient ones. On the other hand, every efficient act is a success in itself. And if every act of your life is an efficient one, your whole life must be a success. The cause of failure is doing too many things in an efficient manner and not doing enough things in an efficient manner. You will see that is self-evident proposition that if you do not do any inefficient acts, and if you do sufficient number of efficient acts, you will become rich. If it is possible for you to make each act an efficient one, you will see again that the getting of riches is reduced to an exact science, like mathematics. The matter turns then on the question of whether you can make each separate act a success in itself, and the matter turns then on the question of whether you can make each separate act a success in itself, and this you can certainly do. You can make each act a success because the infinite is working with you, and the infinite cannot fail. The supreme power is at your service, right? To make each act efficient, you have only to put your own power into it, right? So far, guys, it's been very clear and cut. Don't procrastinate. Don't have goals that you don't reach. If you've got a big goal for the year, break down to monthly targets, weekly targets, daily targets. Be efficient in accomplishing those things, right? Remember, as much as we can want to produce this thing in our mind, we have not so far gone in our social development that we can't work for it, that it's not going to just mysteriously float into existence. So every act counts. But now you're not just blindly working. I think that's his point. You've got a definite purpose. You're goal orientated. Still the beginning of the year. You're sharpening your ambition, your desire, and your plan. And your plan, according to this chapter, has to be a damn efficient one. But here's the standard of success and failure according to the science of getting rich. Everything that you do that is inefficient is considered a failure. And if you group a lifelong of inefficient actions, then you get a whole lifelong of complete failure, which kind of like explains why a lot of people, in fact, the majority of people, stay where they are tired but not rich, working hard but not prosperous. A lot of it is fundamentally based on the efficiency of action and thought. I really think thought should be included there. Now, every action is either strong or weak. I'm continuing with the book. When everyone is strong and you're acting in a certain way which will make you rich, every act can be made strong and efficient by holding your vision while you are doing it and by putting the whole power of your faith and purpose into it. So you're doing an action, you want to know how it can become more efficient. Every action can be made strong and efficient by holding your vision, your affirmations, your vision, your goal, your orientation, your desires, right? The desires of your heart, by putting the whole power of your faith and purpose into it. It is at this point that people who separate mental power from personal action fail, right? They use the power of the mind in one place and at one time, and they act in another place at another time. Thus, their acts are not successful in themselves. Too many of them are inefficient. But if you put the supreme power in every act, no matter how commonplace, every act will be a success in itself. Make the wins in the small things. Every act has to be efficient. Let's follow the podcast every time, or even better, much more to the point, read a chapter a day. If it's not with me, by yourself. Get to a place where you are efficiently consuming efficient information, which will allow you to become as efficient as you can as a human being, as a trader, as someone who's trying to accumulate and build wealth. All these things are fundamentally important. They are literally linked, to your habits, your day-to-day habits. Your daily habits is where the heartbeat of efficient action is. If you know from January 1, you're supposed to be getting up an hour a day just to make time for personal development, and you're still getting up at 8 p.m., 30 minutes late behind your alarm clock and running to work because you're super late, you will never get where you want to be. Every single act can be made strong and efficient by holding your vision. Your vision is too far away from your day-to-day purpose. That's why you need motivation. That some of us, we grew out of needing motivation, right? Our circumstances were highly motivational enough to leave them. The ability to want to be able to give and produce and purchase what you want when you want. That desire, that type of purpose was the only motivation that was needed. You need to encourage efficient action in every particular step of your life. My entire life is planned. If you listen to the best people, Floyd Mayweather has a distinct regiment routine. The best traders have a distinct regiment routine. The best artists in the world have a distinct regiment routine. Drake, literally, you follow these people's personal lives, you'll start to realize that there isn't a single minute that they spare to unnecessary spontaneity unless if it is required to be used for an efficient action towards your goal. Take this very seriously. Right, so one more time. Every action can be made strong and efficient by holding your vision while you are doing it. So I get up, before I start to look at charts, I remind myself, I want $743,500 and it's going to come to me in various amounts at the quality and quantity of trades placed. I tell myself this every day. It's built into my affirmations. I read my affirmations at least 10 times a day, at least a minimum. This year from February, I'm pumping it up to 20 times a day. I am trying to keep my vision extremely close. When it's time to stand up, take a walk, I read my affirmation. When I need to quickly go use the bathroom, perfect time to pull out my affirmation card and read my affirmation. When I'm taking a walk, walking my dog, I'm listening to my own voice that has read my affirmations, and I got that thing on loop. I listened to as much music as I could in December. I watched as many TV shows as I could in December. I took a break for 4 weeks. Now, the only thing on my phone is personal development stuff from Elle Nightingale, Kevin Trudeau, Your Wish Is Your Command. I'm going through that series again, and my personal affirmations. I have no time for anything else. I have a clear goal, and I want every thought working. Every time my neurons are moving and pushing my mind to think, I want every thought to be, or as many thoughts as possible, to be around the attainment of my goal. Because every act can be made strong and efficient by holding your vision. So if I get consumed by it, while you're doing it and putting it, the whole power of your faith and purpose into it. As I continue with the reading, it is at this point that people who separate mental power from personal action fail. They use the power of the mind in one place and at one time, and then act in another place at another time. Thus, their acts are not successful in themselves. Too many of them are inefficient. But if you put the supreme power in every act, no matter how commonplace, every act will be successful in itself. Every success opens the way to other successes. The progress toward what you want and the movement of what you want toward you will become increasingly rapid. Remember that successful action is cumulative in its results. When a man begins to move toward larger life, more things attach themselves to him, and the influence of his desire is multiplied. This is because the desire for life is inherent in all things. When a man begins to move toward a larger life, just think about your very, 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 very first place you rented, and if you moved up, that desire made you want to move up some more. Your very, 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 very first car and what you're driving now. And what you're driving now has created a new desire for a better car, a new car. Your very, 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 very first take profit on trading, might have been $7 or $10 or whatever it was, has created a desire for you to know that this thing works. And therefore, why not try for $70? Why not try for $100? Everything, every simple progressive step, one action further creates, because it has to start from a desire. You have to want it, right? Creates the existence, at least in the mind, for better desire. Now, when a man begins to move towards a larger life, more things attach themselves to him, and the influence of his desire is multiplied. This is because the desire of life is inherent in all things. Do every day all that you can that day, and do each act in an efficient manner. I'm telling you, live like it's your last day. In saying that, you must hold your vision while you're doing each act, however trivial or commonplace. I do not mean to say that it's necessary all the time to see the vision distinctly to its smallest details. During your leisure hours, you should focus your imagination on the details of your vision in order to fix it into your memory. I promise you this is important. Do it. If you wish speedily results, spend practically all your spare time in this practice. By continuous contemplation, you will get the picture of what you want firmly fixed upon your mind and completely transferred to the mind of the formless substance. Then, in your working hours, you need only to mentally refer to the picture to stimulate your faith and purpose and put forth your best effort. Contemplate your picture in your leisure hours until your consciousness is so full of it that you can grasp it instantly. You will become so enthusiastic about its bright promises that the mere thought of it will call forth the strongest energies of your whole being. Let us repeat our syllabus. This is the last bit of the chapter. Bring to a point we have now reached. I just want to quickly talk about how even in his writing, the author's writing, chapter after chapter, he's using what is called a self-automation. We're going to talk about self-automation when we start to go through the Napoleon Hill series, programming your subconscious mind. He's doing it through a simple technique of repetition. In every single chapter, at the end of the chapter, after he's made a big point, think a certain way, your will is important, act a certain way. Now he's talking about efficient action. He has been consistent in repeating what he wants to drive home, which is, and I read, there is a thinking, stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in the substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. A person who can form things in this thought and by impressing his thought upon the formless substance can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, a person must pass from competitive to creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of the things he wants, and he must do with faith and purpose all that he can each day, doing each thing in an efficient manner. 365 guys, shake my hand. I appreciate you. That is the end of our episode. I really want to take you back just literally a paragraph before the syllabus statement that if you wish for speedy results, spend practically all your spare time. Remove the stuff that gives you joy if it's worth it, right? Sacrifice everything now in your spare time and give it to this exercise. By continuous contemplation, you will get the picture of what you want firmly fixed upon your mind and completely transferred to the mind of a formless substance. In the 1930s, Earl Nightingale was the dean of personal development. 1930s, and I find this stuff so cool. So I'm going through it again this will be the third time in my life now, year after year. I try and sit through personal development stuff. Some of their courses were like 25-hour, writing seminars about your life and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, he said the biggest problem with mankind is man no longer thinks. It was in 1935. Man no longer thinks. Now it's such a bold statement to say that is the biggest problem. And here, just to avoid that problem, he's saying spend most of your spare time thinking, contemplating about your goal. Right, guys, I appreciate you. I hope you did enjoy this. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be doing, chapter 13, episode 11 of the podcast. And because it's a Saturday and because we're going to be up bright and early, I will record 2 chapters for you at once tomorrow. When I do 2 chapters tomorrow, and then on Sunday, we are then going to move to finish the book on Sunday. We're going to try to finish the book on Sunday. 365 guys, shake my hand once again. Thank you so much. Have a good day.